Welcome back to another episode of In the Foxhole. I'm your host, JC,
And I'm Angela.
and very excited for our guest today. Some that might need little to no introduction, but Tommy Mello, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here. I'm excited about this one.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for taking your time. I know you got a busy schedule, a lot going on. But real quick, if you would, for our viewers, some of them that may not know who Tommy Mello is, if you would just kind of give us a snapshot into the life of Tommy, your business, and what you have going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, a snapshot. Let's see. I'm from Michigan originally. I moved to Arizona in 1999 to be closer to my father. He moved out in 1996. But being from Detroit, I learned how to shovel snow, mow lawns, and kind of be self-reliant as a kid. And I learned that you got to work hard at anything you want in life. So moved out to Arizona, started a landscaping company, and learned that I'm allergic to grass. It probably wasn't my calling. So I got into garage doors and I was bartending. I was selling Bowflexes. I was flipping cars. I mean, you name it. I figured out how to make money doing it. I can make $3-4 grand a week in my early 20s. But I realized every time I went on vacation, I was depleting my cash flows. So I had to figure out how to make money when I wasn't working. And it took me about a decade. So I've got a company called A1 Garage Door Service, been around almost 20 years. And that's my main core business. I've got a podcast called The Home Service Expert. Got about 700 employees at A1, about 10 people on the podcast, and really just trying to be the largest influencer in home service. I think I've made all the mistakes. I've literally trial and error. I'm not like this star that just was born successful. I mean, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. Murphy's Law. And, our goal is to be the largest, most trusted garage door company in North America. And we started out helping other home service companies. We just started Home Service Freedom at the Freedom event. And we got about 100 clients. We got a waiting list of another 100. And we think that we could help a lot of companies grow their business, know where they're at financially, understand their KPIs, understand marketing and sales and how to recruit, and just a growth mindset. And I love my life, man. A lot of people say that, but I really do. I love waking up and I'm healthy. I've been working out a lot, and I'm just manifesting everything going to happen over the next 5 years. We got a place in Idaho we're building. We've got a new place in Paradise Valley for the last year, and it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the journey. The destination is obviously I'd like to be a multi-billionaire and help a lot of people. And what I found is the more money just adds on to who you are. I mean, literally, like for me, it's going to make a lot more opportunities for a lot of people the more money I make. And money's a tool, and I like making money, and I don't like praise money, but it opens up a lot of opportunity for freedom. So I'm just living my best life. I'm just really enjoying this ride.
And we see it and love seeing it. One thing I want to just kind of quickly talk about, because you said you've been working on working out and getting fit. And I love that. I love the videos that you post because it's kind of like the new flex in life, but not you just showing off, because health is so important. Health is wealth, as they say. And like your videos have inspired me. When I seen you out there, I think you had 315 on there one day, just pushing them up. I'm like, good God. Like I want to do that. And I just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. And one day Angela's at the gym with me about 2-3 weeks ago. I'm like, I'm going to do 315 today. And I did it. But it's just videos like yourself and other great, inspiring people in my life that I'm seeing out there at the gym and focusing on their health, that just constantly push me to want to do better personally and in my fitness life. And having Angela push me harder at the gym every day at 5 a.m. We're there like clockwork. It's so motivational, what one video can do to inspire them to be better in their life physically.
Well, if you don't believe in yourself, like when I walk in a room, I feel a lot better than I did. But I know where I'm going. I mean, it's already preordained. Like unless I die, I will be in the best physical shape more than 99.9% of the people out there. And when you walk into a room and you have self-respect for yourself and you show up as a leader and you're just comfortable, like I'm comfortable taking off my shirt because I'm better than I was. And I just feel like a lot of people know they should be better. They know what they need to do. It's not a secret. Drink more water, get more sleep, eat less carbs, like do cardio, burn more calories than you consume. It's not this crazy, like everybody's looking for this shortcut, but you just got to show up, stay consistent, have a little bit of discipline, and it happens over 3-4 months. And when you feel great about yourself and your energy starts changing, like you become a better leader, you become a better lover, you become a better mentor, you become everywhere across the board. And I wish more people just they know they need to do it, and they're like, oh, New Year's is coming. Their New Year's. Why not get started today? Like,
Yes.
why not just make the move and say, I made up my mind. Enough is enough. But you got to really understand what it's going to do for you, because it's so easy to go back to old habits. So you got to decide, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create accountability. I'm going to have people holding me accountable, and we're going to do it together. And I'm going to let the world know. I'm going to post it all over social media. I'm going to let everybody know this is what's coming. And I'm going to, maybe put a note on the back of your phone and look at it, or take a picture of yourself fat and just say, listen, this is why, Mel Robbins says the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put all the shitty groceries back on the shelf. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, order your food and don't order the pasta, order like a high protein. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, don't get that second drink. Little things, get out of bed. If you just, a little bit of discipline makes a big difference.
Yeah, and the results aren't going to happen overnight. And that's the things people want. They want that instant success, instant results. And that was huge for me, was to stay consistent and be going to that gym every day at 5 a.m. And it's not fun waking up at 4:21 now? We get up every day. But it's when I go home every day, every night, it's actually the first thing that gets me excited as I walk through the door, knowing that that alarm is about to go off in the next 12 hours and we're going to be at the gym working on ourselves like to our best shape of our lives. And it's just it's great being able to take your shirt off now, like you said, and feel good about yourself. I get to play with my kids and they're like, grab my muscle and I'll flex. And they're like, Dad, that's so gross. And I feel so much more confident about myself, and being able to share those posts at the gym and having other people chime in and say, hey, like you inspired me, Tommy, to want to keep pushing harder. It's just an incredible feeling.
What time do you guys go to bed?
Too late. We are working on that. It used to be what? I'd say 10 to 11.
Yeah, I try for 9. That's the goal.
But yeah, we are working on getting to bed earlier.
Yeah, it's good to try to shoot for 7 hours of sleep, 8 if you can.
Yeah.
I think sleep is more important than anything. I'm not perfect by all means, but I think with the right sleep, you make the right choices. You work out harder, you eat better, you drink more water, you're more in the moment, you're more focused, you're better as a leader. So if you had to rate anything more than diet, more than supplements, more than working out, I think sleep is right up there at the top one.
I think that is too. And like you said, we talk about that a lot because that's the one that a lot of people miss. And I think especially entrepreneurs that are grinders, like, oh, I can just get more done. I can get it all done and do the gym and do everything else. That is the superpower that a lot of people are missing, is you have to invest in yourself in that sleep as well. So, I mean, that is
100%.
part of leading yourself well in all elements, just like you said.
Tommy, if you don't mind me asking though, real quick, I'm going to cut you off. Sorry. What sparked that push for you to want to get fit?
So there's several things. My cousin has got a master's degree in anatomy and physiology, and she was a trainer for a long time. And she called me one day. Her name's Rachel. And she said, I'm just going to tell you like it is. You and I are like best friends. She goes, I've never really met anybody more successful than you. She's like, you devour books. You're great on stage. Your business is thriving. You show up, but you just don't look like you're taking care of yourself. She's like, you're nowhere near, you like to win at everything you do. She's like, but you don't really treat yourself that well. You're not getting the sleep. You're drinking probably too much. You're not watching your diet. And I said, okay, so can you help me? And she said, I'll find you a trainer in Phoenix and I'll scout out the best one. And so we worked on that. And then I met Andy Elliott, and I got a buddy, Travis Ringy, in Idaho. And my other cousin, Michael, started doing this diet because he went into the doctor, and the doctor said, you're going to be on some serious medication unless you lose some pounds. And some of it has to do with visceral fat and just unhealthy where your blood and your cholesterol and everything's affecting the way your mood is and your hormonal imbalance. So there was just enough signs out there, and there's signs everywhere if you just open your eyes and you kind of just say, there's something here. I need to do better. And so I just made up my mind. I got on these peptides and just set myself up for success. 2 protein shakes a day, the right supplements, the right energy. And I pushed myself harder than I ever have at the gym. And the biggest thing is just go for a long walk. Like, get on a phone call that you have to do while you're walking. Like, park farther away at the grocery store. Like, take your dogs out more often. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't take a ton, but you need to set yourself up. You need to really spend some time and spend a week on what processes, what systems, what checklists you're going to put in place.
Mhm.
And it's easy to go back, man. Thanksgiving was a tough week. I goofed off a lot, probably needed it, but now I'm back in the grind, working out. I did legs and shoulders yesterday, and the writing was on the wall. And now I'm just like, the way people look at me, they're like, "Dude, you're an inspiration." And I'm like, I didn't know how many people were watching till the last couple of
Mm.
months, and I don't think they were watching me going, "What a fat pig," but a lot of people were like, "Dude, you were looking like you weren't really healthy, and now you're like, the reason we could tell you that is because you're making a big difference." So people watch, people see. A lot of employees have noticed. I call them my coworkers, but I'm ready to just be the best version of myself, and I'd rather have health than wealth because
Yeah.
all the money in the world doesn't mean anything. Steve Jobs said, "You're going to take your food as medicine, or you'll be taking medicine as your food." And he's right. I mean, it adds up. And sometimes a decade goes by and you're unhealthy. And there's a lot of things that could happen that are bad when you're not healthy, when you're not eating right.
Absolutely. It's such a great story that you got called out by someone in your life, that like everyone sees you and you are like, your highlight reel was incredible. Not only of achievements that like just how much you love your life, but you can be at the top of your game in all of the other pillars, business, relationships, financial. Um, and if one of those pillars is off, and she saw that, like, you are so successful in every other thing. But if you let one of those pillars fall, you're not leading yourself well, and it's going to make something else crash.
It's a hard truth. And your best friends should be the ones that are telling you, but sometimes people don't want to hear it. One thing that I try to stay is humble and
Mhm.
try to be able to handle constructive criticism because I'm looking forward to the people closest in my life to tell me what's up. And when they don't, they're actually not doing you any service by making you feel bad at the moment because it should inspire change. And I think everybody needs more accountability in their life. And if you don't have it, you need to create it. I have an asshole of a trainer. I mean, he hates it if I cancel. He literally holds me accountable. And I appreciate more than ever this trainer and his accountability, and that he appreciated himself so much that he doesn't like it when you call in. You waste his time. I still pay him regardless, but he still gets mad. He's like, dude, don't let me down. Just you come in whether you don't feel like it. Like I've missed 2 or 3 trainings in the last 18 months. And I was working out right, but when I added in the peptides and added in the protein shakes and really started cutting out sugar and carbs, I mean, diet is like so important.
Hmm.
And some people, that instant gratification. I was at my dad's August 20th. He turned 70, and a lot of his family was in town, my aunts and uncles. And I watched them, but some of them barely walking, going back for their second and third helping of dessert. And they complain that they can barely walk, but yet their actions don't speak it. And I'm just like, and a lot of times that happens in business. People know what they should be doing. A lot of times there's this voice in our head telling us, but we ignore our conscience. And if you look in the mirror and you make a promise to yourself and you don't keep it, if you can't stay accountable to yourself, like no one else is gonna believe you because you can't even follow your own voice telling you what you need to be doing. And
Mm.
human beings are irrational. I mean, there's a great book called Predictably Irrational, and we do. We're creatures of habits, and the habits it takes a long time to create a new habit and keep it built because it's so easy to go back to your old way.
Oh, absolutely. So putting those systems in place are crucial. Before Tommy, we want to dive into some foxhole moments, maybe moments that weren't as pretty as your highlight reel at the beginning. But before we do that, tell us about a win you're celebrating in this season. Obviously, you have some physical wins, but any other wins in business or areas of your life?
You know, we're building a house in Idaho in Sam Point. It's about an hour away from Coeur d'Alene. And I'll give you my highlight reel of this property. It's 5 acres. It's on the lake. I'm 30 minutes to the top of the mountain for all the winter sports. I'm a summer guy. So big win. I mean, I'm getting a boat. We're getting the jet skis. We're getting all the summer and all the winter sports, the snowmobiles. And it's a great lake for fishing. There's Gosser, which is an hour away, the best golf club in the North America. Like it's amazing. It's the most expensive as well.
Mm.
There's an amusement park. It's a beautiful town. All the summer stuff, all the winter stuff, 15-minute private airport away from the house. And my neighbor's awesome. I used to work for him 20 years ago. He owns Bottle Blonde and all these bars. Older guy, amazing. His name's Alessin and his wife's name is Diane. And just really, that's a big win for me because I wanted this place that I could bring friends and family to deepen our relationships. So for me, is being able to do that is to bring people with me. It's it's lonely at the top. I'll tell you guys. My goal is that every single person that's close to me, I have a hand in enabling them to be successful. And so I'm using my house in Paradise Valley. I'm using that house to be able to deepen relationships and help get people on their feet and let them. I don't like to give people money. I like to help them succeed themselves because it's easy to say, hey, I'll keep giving you money when you need it. It's different when you could help them find something they're passionate about and to evolve on their own and have more self-worth for themselves. So I think that's a huge win. I'm expanding my PV house. I bought the neighbor's house. I'm putting a 3,500 square foot gym and a wellness center. I'm building the pool that I've always wanted with a lazy river. I mean, those are all monetary things, but it's really to deepen relationships. And then A1 is just on a great trajectory. I'd say, we got some big plans and like I've already I know what we're going to do. It's not a question. Like in my mind, people are like, I hope I do this. I'm like, it's already done. All I need to do is execute my plan. So, in the next few years, A1's going to become even a bigger monster than it is. And, I want to leave legacies. I want people to just say he was the best guy in home service there ever was and ever will be. And I just hope when people say, I'm glad I knew that guy because he only gave. Yeah. I'm never in a relationship. I don't even like 50-50 relationships. I'm like a 70-30 guy. Someone's got to meet me somewhere. Can't just be take, but I really do want to help people. And I've been through, and we're going to talk about the foxholes. I've been through a lot of the people don't know what success is like. Luckily, I got into my early 20s, but I mean, I've been through the ringer, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But it's relationships, weekends, nights, health, everything sacrificed when you're trying to build a business like A1 is today.
Yeah, Tommy, we heard you speak together, Angela and I, at Sales Boost last year, and I've heard you speak several times before that. And I'm going to butcher this, but you said something during your speech about dreaming so big that others' dreams can fit inside that, or something of that nature. If you can correct me on that. And it's just so inspiring to see how genuine you were about that. You're not just doing that to pump everybody's egos up or anything like that. Like, when we see you on social, see you out at these events and everything, like you are who you say you are, and you are genuine about trying to help these people and not gain anything out of other than make them a better version of themselves. And it really is inspiring to see you stay true to that year over year as you have grown your companies and continue to stay successful, that you're still caring about everybody that's with you and coming along with you on that.
I have a personal CFO, and I had him kind of run, if everything goes right in 2026, there'll be more chips taken off the table. And I had him kind of do some roundabout math on how much I make per day just to keep me focused. And I broke that down into hourly, and it's a massive amount of money. And I try to stay focused, but I remember where I came from. And so many people gave back to me, and everybody's like, man, you can't take those phone calls anymore. Like you shouldn't have to do that. And I'm trying to get more to where I could help out masses. If I'm answering one question, I'm probably answering the same question for 1,000 people. So I'm trying to be a little bit more specific with what I'm trying to do. But I read this book and I got this guy training me. His name's Dan Martell. And he wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. And it's something that I think is super, super important for me is always give back to the people who have me got this far. And, thank God people accepted me and they let me come into their office and they taught me and they said, dude, you're a little prodigy. We're going to give you everything we've got and take it and run with it. And so I feel like it's to pay it forward. And I think that that's only fair. And I'm not a big paid speaker. I literally I just want to get in front of people, share the story. And if I can help and if it affects them in a positive way, I'm pretty passionate about what I do. And I've had people that said I would have been bankrupt and divorced if you hadn't come into my life, even if it's a TikTok video. I mean, that's important to me.
Yeah. So powerful and just a true testament of the person you are and the person you want others to be. But let's dive into the foxhole. Let's talk about those moments where times were tough. You started A1 many years ago, and I know that wasn't an easy journey getting there. Let's talk about times where just maybe Tommy said, maybe this isn't my path. Maybe I'm ready to get out of this.
Yeah, there's one day, there's a few days actually specifically. One day was when I was running calls. My mom was answering the phones. My stepdad was our office manager. And my mom walked out, just had a tough day. She said, I can't work, can't do this anymore. So go back to the shop. There's 3 people out with cigarette breaks. No one's on the phones. That day, people had stolen stuff out of the warehouse. Week earlier, I got my tools all stolen out of my van. Someone busted in and took them all. And I just thought, is this worth it? At that time I used to say employees don't care. It's impossible to find good people. We've all heard that. And I just said, no one cares as much as me. This sucks. And, over the years, I moved into an apartment complex that I bought and I stayed close to my technicians, but I lived in the apartment for 4 years. I've had literally, I took on a job I shouldn't have taken on at one point, and that cost me $100,000. It just was so much time, effort, and energy into this job that I shouldn't have took. And so I've learned to say no to certain things because they're shiny objects as an entrepreneur or ADHD. And all of a sudden you want to be a real estate investor because you hear real estate's a great investment. And you take your eye off the ball thinking I'm divesting a little bit, making sure I got my eggs in many baskets. And you're like, I'm supposed to have a side hustle. And all that shit's wrong. In my opinion, you focus on what's bringing you the money. You put all your eggs into that one basket. You stay grounded and disciplined and consistent. And it starts to overfill into other things. Just taking on work because a customer wants you to, but you're not a pro, you're not an expert in that subject matter is a mistake. Mm-hmm. Taking on other industries like, hey, we could also do this. We're already there and they're asking for it. Well, it's a whole different truck setup, different insurance, different AR, different training, different recruiting, different SOPs, different KPIs. Like everybody's like, I just want my clientele and I want to expand on what I'm doing. And I'm like, I became a garage door expert. And I took that to 20 states and 40 markets. And I think that's the right route. I mean, you look at a guy like, Parker and Sons, Paul Kelly. I mean, he's doing 300 million. He's proving me wrong, but he's one in a billion, really. Everybody says, my clients, they all say, hey, it would be great if you guys did this. Well, I got a great guy for that. But well, why would you give money away? Because we're not experts at that. So if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. I mean, you talk about some of my ex-girlfriends. The reason, I have not been great at relationships is because I work a lot. And it takes somebody that's pretty open to me working a lot. And this is who I am. I'm not going to change. No amount of money is going to change my tenacity. Everybody's like, when is enough enough? Well, when does Tiger Woods quit golfing?
That's right.
When is enough enough? I don't do this anymore for the money. I do this for personal growth because if you could, you should, because I'm obligated. I got a team behind me and their lives need to change too. And my dream does have to be big enough that their dreams could fit. And they better dream big, dream huge, have big goals. Don't own one house, own 10 houses. Don't go to Disney World, go first class to Disney World and go to every excursion you could get yourself into. Like, That's the deal. And people they have these little goals, these little dreams, and they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I perform. I go to work. I stay focused. I get stuff done. I see it through to the finish line. A lot of people are 3 feet from gold. They got to dig deeper. They got to go deep into something. A lot of people are just scratching the surface of so many things. And it sucks because they don't know what they could do if they just applied some basic strategies and go deep into something.
So you brought up a good thing. Earlier you said employees don't care, and I see it way too often, especially with young entrepreneurs, that they're scared to hire. Or they'll hire one employee, and then they're not bad. They're not a good fit. Usually, it's because they don't train them well. They don't have the culture. What is something you've done with A1 to be able to develop your culture? I've seen it all the time. The videos. I've seen the Taki chip, whatever challenge you've done, like all the fun stuff you do with the team building. How did you grow that from mom's garage to where it is now to get the employees to care?
First things first, the owner's got to show up. If you're a founder, you got to show up. I know $5 million companies that the owner's never there. They wanted a job that they just have passive income. I don't believe in that to build a culture. They want to show that they want to see somebody show up to work, be there to back them up. Next thing is like my brand is really important. Like we're branded all throughout the offices with powerful sayings and like the caricature and like Dan Antonelli's rebranding from Kick Charge of what he built our brand, where it's the website looks like the wraps, looks like the yard signs, looks like the billboards or TV, radio. Everything's kind of cohesive. And, I think the biggest thing is asking yourself what's in it for them. Weekly pay is important. Brand new trucks is important. Training from scratch, give them $4,000 worth of tools. Showing them on how they could win through performance, how to move up the corporate ladder. We pay for a portion of their AFLAC, PTO, 401k, insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, pet insurance, and really showing them that they're going to get a work-life balance, and then making them dream bigger, find out what they want, and then use their compensation. And hopefully there's drivers that they could do to hit their goals quicker. And when you know that you care, that you're looking out for them and their family, like they'll show up for you too. And I think you gotta be a good communicator. You gotta be open to constructive criticism. Henry Ford, the people on the line, the assembly line, helped create that company. They said, here's where we need to specialize in. I could use somebody else to help with the brakes and I'll do the tires. I'll get somebody to help out. The front line is the most important. They know what's going on. If they're open, if their founder is open to suggestions, they're going to tell you exactly what needs to happen so they could have a voice in the company. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to it. I mean, we've got Golden Tee, Big Buck Hunter. We can take the people bowling. We get their wives and husbands on board. We get their kids on board to make sure they're getting the support from at home so they understand their goals and their vision of what they're trying to do through this job. And I think if you don't make your culture and have a plan for it, it'll plan itself out either way. It's when you don't plan it, it usually goes sour. And you walk around and say, nobody cares. If I don't do it, it won't get done right. There's no manuals. Al Levy, he came in 2017 and we've got 50 manuals now for each job, each role. We got a manual for a heavy technician, heavy installer. We've got all their, how do they get PTO? What happens if their truck breaks down? What are they allowed to have a beard? Does it need to be manicured? What happens? What's our tattoo policy? And the manuals, I'm going back to the manuals. I'm building a manual for my house. The housekeeper. I'm getting manuals for every single thing. I'm going back to this in my personal life and building out techniques, standard operating procedures, systems, and checklists for every piece of my life. And without Al Levy, I wouldn't be here today, probably on this podcast. And there's a lot of people like Al Levy that helped get me to where I am. But culture is a big, I used to think it's a 4-letter word, but it's important. And now I got a line of people that want to work for me all the time because they know I care. And
yeah.
You have such a great, you have such a great 360 view of culture, but it starts right there with what you finished with of people that want to work with you because they know that you care. And everything that you've lined up in that 360 view really lines up with that culture isn't just the parties and the perks and the team building and the different standard things, that it's really this 360 approach, making them feel cared, valued, supported in every way, taking care of them as human beings. And then, like you said, that the goal that you're helping them dream big. And that's so important, and a piece that so many people miss. Because if you can attach what they're doing, like you said, their performance pay and everything, to this goal, and you made them dream bigger, they're going to stay and be so attached to you, because they're attached to that dream you've painted for them and that path to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And we got, if you go to calc.a1garagetools.com, you can see the different levels of what our technicians make, and you can see how to make money at our company. And it's just a KPI driver, and having daily morning mojo calls, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, a Thursday morning meeting where they get to know where they're at in the company. They get to know who to call, who's number one at one KPI. They got scorecards. Our CSRs, dispatchers, installers, maintenance techs, our trainers, everybody has KPIs, and they get to see where they're at, and they get to make a phone call to the person who's beating them at whatever. And we created this environment where we're out to help each other. Like, just because you're winning doesn't mean they have to lose. That's why I invite my competitors here. I'm like, we're all allowed to make a lot of money. Just because I'm making money doesn't mean you automatically lose money. Like, we're stronger together. And I think very few people understand that. They're like, oh, they're my competitors, I can't tell them anything. We all will make more money if we work together. It's not, we're not doing we're not fixing the market. I don't think you can fix a garage door market. There's 500 companies just in Phoenix, but I just really want people to win. And I want them to say, hey, I worked with Tommy Mello. I got to meet him. He's a real deal, and my life is better. And if that's what I leave behind, I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, our good friend Michael Gregory, he says, radical transparency, and that's what you're doing with your team. You're giving them access to everything, so they see where they're at, see where their growth is, and see how they can improve on their personal stats or what they're doing within the business to grow with that calculator as well. So they see their potential.
I mean, people come into my office. Everybody knows how much profit we make. I mean, we are an extremely profitable company. Everybody knows where I live. A lot of the employees come over my house. It's a big house. Right now it's 16,000 square feet. It'll be 26,000 square feet. I'm not ashamed of it. It's a place where they can come hang out. They're allowed to know I make a lot of money. I've spent 2 decades to do it, and they're allowed to make a lot of money as well. I'm not one of those guys that say no one could ever see your car. No one could ever see your house. Like, you got to keep that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go against the norm on everything you say, because you're not success. I look at people that give advice, and I'm like, show me where you're at, because it's hard. Everybody's got their own little way to do stuff, and they think they got to figure it out. I'm still learning every day, but I'll tell you this: success leaves clues, and I follow certain people. And I don't just follow them because of money. I follow them because they genuinely are happy. They've got a great mindset. They focus on what they have versus what they don't have. They focus on today and the future versus the past. They focus on what they can change versus you can't change Israel and Ukraine. So you watch people with this mindset, and you watch them. They're generally going through life excited. And those are the people. Like, social media is a bad deal. I do a lot on social media, but I'm one of the few people that are actually like doing what I say I'm doing. I look at a lot of people and I'm like, man, they're not even profitable. And here they are giving coaching advice on how to hire employees. Like, there's so many people out there. They don't walk the walk at all. Those that can't make it in the real world, they teach. And I'm like, so I'd say 99 out of 100, the people you see out there didn't really make it. And here they are. I mean, here's one piece of advice to those listening to the podcast. Go visit the company that you're taking advice from. Look at what they have. See their employee morale. See if they're even profitable. Like, why are you listening to these people? Because they showed you a Porsche on their TikTok reel? I don't like. Why do you listen? Like, follow success leaves clues. Follow people that are winning.
Success leaves clues. I like that. And you've said it just, everything you said just ties so well together, Tommy, because like you said, you really live out authentically who you are and let everyone see it. Your highlight reel was different than anyone else that introduces themselves on our podcast or other podcasts, not just because of your success, but you all are about who you are. Not these are the things that I've done. This is the business that I have. You shared, I love my life and this is my mission. And these are the things that I'm doing. And these are the people that I'm taking with me. And you are so passionate about helping people win, helping other people win, not only in your business, but in their own business, and doing it authentically, showing people what that really looks like.
I feel like I got a lot of weight on my shoulders. I sold half my company in December, and I thought life would become easier because the money was a really large amount of money. And then I realized I made a commitment to investors that I was going to go 5x the company, and I got a lot more people to help. And I'm like, it's actually gotten a little bit harder, not because of the accountability, but just because with great power comes great responsibility. And
Mm.
I'm sitting here with this weight on my shoulders going, every person I know that I care about, and there's a lot of them, how do I help them become, in their own eyes, successful? And it's not by giving money, like I said earlier, because it changes who they are. It changes how they walk. It changes how they look in the mirror. It changes their eye contact, changes their tonality. And so I've got a pretty big mission here. There's thousands of millionaires I'm going to create. And there's probably millions of lives I want to have a hand in making better. And so I got to show up. I got to be here. I got to get out of bed and I got to come perform. And, the lives are like I think one person can make a big change in this world. I was just watching this old show, this Christmas show, and he was running around with the world without him, and his brother would have drowned and all these things. I forget what it's called. It's like it's a Christmas story with really good actor. It's Scrooge. It might have been called Scrooge. And, I don't, human beings are selfish creatures, so obviously I want to help people because it makes me feel good. There's an ulterior motive. I help people because it makes me feel good.
Mhm.
And so I guess I'm selfish in a lot of ways with that regard. I mean, it's doing a great thing in the world, but the more I can help, the more people, like my best friends. Yeah, I helped out a lot of people when I got this money. I gifted a lot of money, but really, like my next big thing is like I want each of these guys and gals that I'm friends with to like make millions, spend more quality time with their families, accomplish their personal goals, have deeper relationships, and enjoy Mondays again. And if I do that, I feel like unstoppable.
That's powerful.
So, Tom, you said you had a couple more. We got time for probably one more foxhole moment, though, in your business life. What else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I told you about taking on jobs you shouldn't do and expanding too fast. Talked about relationships. I'll tell you, a lot of people say I've reinvested into my company. I feel like every time I said I'm reinvesting it all back into the company, I was lying to myself. Because if you looked at my balance sheet, my income statement, I was just not profitable. But I'd say in my head, I'm putting it all back in. I bought some new trucks. I got some new wraps. I did this. And my CPA at the time was like, spend some money in the Q4 because you're going to pay too many taxes. And then I had an unhealthy balance sheet. I shouldn't have listened. So I there are days that I'm just like, you feel like closing up shop and walking away. And that book, 3 Feet from Gold, is so important. I mean, you're so close. You're one hire away from really succeeding. I mean, there's a lot, man. I remember I got a phone call, the worst call I've ever got. I haven't talked about this in a long time. One of my guys in Denver is an amazing technician. He was going to take over the world. I mean, this guy was top 5 in the company. This is a few years ago, 4th of July. And he sends me a message saying, I'm so lucky to work here. You're the best boss I've ever had. And I'm very thankful for you today. And an hour later, he was playing with fireworks. Firework went off in his face. He fell down, bumped his head, immediately died. And so I got the call the next day. It was devastating. And, we did as much as we can to help out the family, but he had 3 kids. He's got a wife that he left behind. So, those are hard things you deal with as an owner. I mean, it's never easy. I've got guys in car accidents that have flipped trucks. I had a customer get hurt. They took apart their springs. They sued us for 300 grand. That's something we're paying. I mean, that's something we're in the middle of that we are going to pay out. But why the F would you take apart your springs? But there's a lot of news. Listen, as an owner and a founder, you can't just accept the trophies and the BBB awards and the fastest growing companies and the Inc. 5000. You're going to take all the bad as with it. And there's a lot. Thank God I have a high tolerance for pain, because I'll tell you this, with the stuff that goes wrong on a daily basis, if I wasn't able to compartmentalize it and focus on the good, I would probably have committed suicide, because it is devastating, some of the things that have happened. But I can focus on the positive things, the things that are going well in the business in my life. And thank God I can say everything happens for a reason, and it's going to make us stronger. But that poor family lost their husband and their dad, and not a lot I could do about it, but it's just devastating. That's a real foxhole, is when you get news like that, and you're trying to figure out what the best thing to do is. And the best thing to do is try to be there for the family. There's not a lot we could have done. So.
Yeah, that's hard. And there's no, I mean, you don't plan for that in life starting out. It's not something you expect to happen. And then life does happen. And it's like, well, what do I do? And I've seen that with several other companies and friends of mine that have had even recently, whether it's on their own time or during work. And it's just like, well, what do I do? Like, there's no SOP for this right now. But like you said, you got to be there. You got to show up, and you got to be there for the family as much as you can.
It's I started a thing, TommyCares.org, and I'm not here to brag about it, but so many people give to nonprofits and they want to help out all these charitable things, but they don't look in their own backyard. They don't look at the CSR who's a single mother with bad tires on her car. They don't look at the Thanksgiving dinner that somebody can't afford a steak dinner for their family. Some people have nowhere to go on Thanksgiving. They don't think about this stuff. My mom, we got a lot of help from the church. We got Bibles every Thanksgiving and birthday. But I wanted to get back. I'm looking at my own backyard before I'm going to help anybody else. I think it's so important. There's a lot of families that haven't been on a date in a while with their wife or husband. A lot of people haven't had their house professionally cleaned in years, maybe never. And if I have an opportunity to do that for my people out of my own pocket, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. And so you can nominate yourself or somebody else with a quick video. And, I'm doing about 22 grand a month. And I just think I want to help out as many people. Now, here's the caveat. If I know how much you make, I've got access to payroll. And if you're making 6 figures, I'm going to send you a Dave Ramsey book, and we're going to work on getting your personal finances in order. Because most people have a spending problem. It's interesting. Most people, they want to be a multimillionaire because they're thinking about what they could spend. The wealth I've accumulated, I invest in assets that have a high return, and I'm not losing everything. I don't gamble a lot with this money. I make certain investments that might not pay out as well, but they could run pretty big. And I'm very, very careful to keep what I've already earned and start compounding that. And if people had a different view of wealth as these are the habits that create wealth and keep it, versus when I'm rich, this is what I want to spend. That's why people that hit the lottery, they go bankrupt so quick, is because I'm a millionaire. Now they start living like a millionaire. They hire all these people like MC Hammer did, and all of a sudden it's gone quickly because you got to kind of guard it.
Yeah, it's like with a lot of pro athletes when they, go pro, they have all this money and then they get out and they have nothing to show for it. We're just talking about that with another guest earlier about the importance of talking about money and how to be financially responsible about it.
They don't teach you about money in school. They don't teach you
Nope.
about compound interest. They don't teach you about credit cards. They don't teach you about your credit score. They don't teach you about how to balance your budget, your personal budget. They don't really tell you about, in my first book, The Home Service Millionaire, I talk about delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is just, I'm not going to get it today, but it's going to be better off in the long term. The other one I talk about is creative justification. People create reasons to do things. A lot of people steal, but they change it in their mind that they're not really stealing. Like, for example, I get an extra keypad and a remote in some of the boxes when we buy them. They know they come free in the box. So they take one, and we got systems in place for this, but they say he got them for free anyway. And they condone it in their own mind of why it's okay. They say people lock their doors at night to keep the good people out. The bad people are going to break through a window. Don't leave your doors open, because good people make a lot of bad decisions when they're left in a certain situation.
Well, Tommy, that brings us to the end of our episode. We talked about a lot of great stuff. I mean, you're doing great things, super humble, what you're doing, huge voice for everybody that's trying to grow personally, professionally, fitness, financially, and love what you're doing. When's the next time you'll be out there speaking for our viewers that might want to go hear you speak?
Here's what I'd recommend. If you want to get to know me a little bit, come to a shop tour. I open it up to about 40 companies a month. I'm probably going to do it twice a month. We're going to talk about SOPs, manual creation, get to see the brand that Dan created, show you our training center. People really enjoy it. And I'm getting very, very, very specific in how I do it, where I'm going to have videos from my managers on performance pay and just how our call centers ran. And to answer, I'm going to give a lot of assets. So it'll come with like a spiral of just information about different things on leadership, on training, on accountability, about performance pay, about equity incentive programs, about how to hire the right trainer. We're building out a whole guide. And what's nice about that is it's a little more intimate. You could ask questions and you could kind of see the operation of what we built. And I think that's the most powerful thing. I could talk on stage all day. And I try to inspire people. But when they see it, it's a whole different feeling. Yeah. And I've never done it to where it's going to be in January, to where I'm going to have videos from every department kind of and giving a lot of resources to people. So I'd say there's nothing different than seeing a shop and answering the questions and knowing you want to build something similar and seeing it in real life. Because it's like when I got to go visit shops, especially HVAC and plumbing, I saw $100 million shop after $100 million shop. I said, who's got the most private jets what industry has the most private jets? And it was HVAC. So I went and visited every major shop in the country, and they opened up their doors. So I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it in a way that allows for my schedule to be optimized to give people the best experience for it. And so it's going to be really cool. So I'd advise people to do that. I'm going to be at Pat Clark's thing for a day. I mean, I'm probably speaking probably too much, but I'll be around the country. You catch me. I don't even know. I spoke 24 times this year. So
if they want, is that open to any industry who wants to come out there?
Yeah, any industry, landscaping, pest control, whatever it is, you're more than welcome to come to that. And I don't really, if you want to do that, where's the best place, Giuseppe, to go? I don't have, you know what I'm going to do?
We'll get it in the show notes.
If you want to come, go TommyMello.com/shop tour. The site doesn't exist yet, but it will soon. Okay. And TommyMello.com/shop tour. And I'll give you guys my 8 steps of delegation. I'll show you guys some of the stuff. I'll give you guys my list of books to read and the books that you need to read right now, depending on what you're having problems with in the company. And I appreciate being on here. It's been fantastic. And I love what you guys are doing.
Awesome, Tommy. Well, keep inspiring, keep doing what you're doing. Look forward to the next gym video. That wraps up another episode of In the Foxhole. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for another episode next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tommy.